Famously frugal fanatics, welcome back to another episode of Chefing with Shaps. On today's episode, we're going to make steak, potatoes, as well as some grilled vegetables. Before we begin, we want to take out our steak about 20-30 minutes before we start cooking so that it thaws out a bit and is not cold in the center when we cook it, so that the outside doesn't overcook while the inside stays raw. We're going to let these steaks sit here and thaw out while we get the other ingredients prepared. For the potatoes, we're going to be using these little charmer potatoes. We're going to use some asparagus, as well as a head of broccoli. We're going to set our oven to 420 so that we can bake our potatoes.
Blaze it.
We're going to keep the seasoning on the potatoes quite simple because the steak's going to have a lot of flavor, so we're just going to go with a little bit of oil, salt, and pepper, and that's it. We're going to set our timer for 15 minutes, and we're going to let these go. We're going to take off the stems portion of the asparagus because it's quite chewy and woody, and it's not very pleasant to chew on. Seasoning on these a little bit different. We're going to go with some oil, but then we're going to use some of my favorite seasoning, Miss Dash. Good for seafood, good for vegetables, good for meat, good for everything. For our steaks, we're going to make a seasoning paste. We're going to mix some oil as well as some salt and pepper, and we're going to cook that all on top of the steak. All right, today we're going to be cooking the steaks in two different methods. One we're going to do in a griddle pan, the other we're going to do in a regular skillet. Not everyone's going to have one of these, whereas most people are going to have one of these. When cooking a steak, don't be afraid to use high heat and a high temperature. These are relatively thin pieces of meat here, so they're going to cook pretty quick, 3-4 minutes. So we really want to get high heat to get a good crust on them. So you see this smoke here? That means that it's hot and ready to put the steak on. Always lay your steak away from you. Press it in. Set a timer on your phone for 90 seconds. We're going to flip it at that point. If you have a smoke alarm or a smoke detector, unplug it. All right, after 90 seconds, you can see we've started to develop a bit of a crust here. We're going to flip it. After another 90 seconds, we're going to flip it sideways, crosshatch. All right, this has been on for about 4 minutes, so we're going to take it off and we're going to let it rest. The timer has gone off. We're going to turn it off and put it on broil high, and we're going to add the vegetables. All right, after about 5 minutes on the broiler, as you can see, these are nicely done. All right, gentlemen.
Hi. Thank you.
Give her a try.
Dive in. Oh, that was really good. Your seasoning on it is actually delicious.
It's very tender. Goes down nice and smooth. Perfect medium rare. It's delicious. We the champs. We the champs. We the North. All right, let's try the fruits of our labor here. First, I'm gonna go for the steak. Amazing. For a cheap steak from Food Basics, pretty damn good. Let's try the vegetables here. I just burnt it. Get out of my tongue. Alright everyone, that's it for this episode of Chefing with Shaps. I'm your host Noah. This is Famously Frugal. I'll see you on the next video.